with Aaron Cow.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cow with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
And a good Monday morning out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports, right here on 98.1 FM, The Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. It's a Monday, so we'll hear from Jim Traber at 9:30. Good thing there's nothing to talk about in the world of sports. I don't know what we'll ask him.
Somebody asked us like last week, what do you guys do when high school sports comes to an end and there's really nothing going on? There's a lot going on.
There's always something going on.
There's always something going on.
So we'll visit with Jim at 9:30. Hit the PGA Championship. Man, what a weekend. I got to go back. I was unable to watch it live. I went back and watched some of it this morning and last night. Just an awesome event. And my question to everybody out there and to you will be, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, will this be remembered as the Brooks Koepka's third PGA Championship win? Or will this be remembered as the Michael Block PGA? Just, I mean, two like incredible stories side by side from over the weekend. So we'll hit the PGA, and then we'll see what Jared did this weekend. Looking at his face, I'm going to say he did the same thing I did. Sat out in the sun all weekend. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line, 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of those things. Obviously, the NBA playoffs winding down to the finals, it looks like, with some surprising results, at least with the domination by the teams. In the NHL, man, what a perfect time for the NHL conference finals to be going like they are opposite of the NBA.
Yep.
I mean, a perfect time to have 4 out of 4 games so far go into at least one overtime, if not multiple overtime. So it's been fascinating in the NHL. Softball, cowgirl softball. It's a fun time here as we move toward the month of June. If you're going to be outside the listening area, a couple ways to stay in touch with the show. You can log on to kadsam.com. You can download the app. Paragon app is free, and it's got everything. It has got radio. It has got the Penny News. Brand new edition of the Penny News hits the website at midnight. The Penny News, or not this midnight, I guess it's Wednesday morning. ThePennyNews.com. Oh, yeah. We could also talk about why Brittany Griner's return wasn't a sellout.
Honestly, I don't want to talk about that.
Who's the sellout, though?
Yeah.
225-9698 is the phone or the text line. All right, Jared, how was your weekend?
Very busy. Very busy. It was fun, though. How was yours?
Same. Felt like I did. I spent basically all day at the baseball field yesterday. Got there about 1, a little after 1, and left just a little bit before 9. Now, the good news is that means your team played well.
Yeah.
But it was a long day at the ball field, that's for sure.
Or sometimes that means you lose one and have to play a lot.
Yeah, not anymore. Not on our side.
Single elimination over there?
Oh, absolutely. Because of the pitching rules and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those days are over.
Yeah. Yeah. I barely saw our house. It was just go home, go to bed, get up, and go back to the fields. But it was fun. It was a fun weekend. A lot of good softball over there.
So how did did they both play?
Yeah.
Both children?
Yeah. The Katie's team, man, they went up against a lot of U-Trip teams, those travel teams. So that's the idea. You want to get them against some good pitching and good quality opponents. And they did okay. They got to the semis on Sunday and eventually bowed out to, I think, the runner-up, which is the Southwest Impact. It has a lot of local kids on that team, and it's fun to go up against them. And but they got a couple wins out of the deal, got a tie out of one of them, with a really good team out of the city area. So, a good quality at bats for all the kids. And then the 8U, they got all the way to the finals and fell to the Moreland team. That's pretty good, hit the ball pretty well, but they gave a fight and couldn't ask for any more. So it was long. We were there from 9A to, I don't remember. I'm fried both days. So, but girls had fun, and that's the whole idea. Have fun and get better. So,
and it was a perfect.
It was. The
Oh,
weather
my
was
gosh.
awesome. I wasn't here Friday. My brother-in-law's in town, so
Yeah, you picked the
golfing.
worst of the 3 days to play golf.
No, I didn't. We went at the right time, around 9:30.
You did. It wasn't near as nice any time on Friday
Well,
as
okay,
it was
of the
Saturday
3
night.
days,
Yeah,
of the 3
that's
days.
what I'm talking
I
about.
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I know where you're going, because Friday at what time was it when that cold front came in?
Yeah, the wind picked up at, 2 or 3
See,
o'clock or so?
We got 18 in. Once we got to the back 9, those clouds were rolling in. You could feel that wind hit, but it wasn't cool yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was convenient because I could blame the wind on my bad score. But once we got off the course, we went and got a bite and in there for about an hour. Once we stepped out, boom, 20-degree difference, and the wind was there. I mean, it was cold. I told my brother-in-law, I said, we golfed at the perfect time because when we got there, that front 9, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, there was but then Saturday, so we got to play 2 games back-to-back. Wyatt got to play 2 games back-to-back early, like at noon, and then at 1 or 1:30 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so I left the fields at like 3 on Saturday and went straight to the first tee. And you want to talk about a perfect
I bet.
evening. By the time we played the front 9, watched the horse race, then played the back 9, and by the time we got to the back 9, I mean, the flags were, not even moving.
Yeah.
And it wasn't hot, but it wasn't cool. You don't get very many of those days, and you don't get 2 in a row very often.
Nah.
The way that it happened this weekend is both days were just gorgeous.
Yeah. By the way, my brother-in-law is from Colorado. I knew he was coming for about a month, so he said, hey, man, take the day off. Let's do something. So let's go golf. Bring your clubs. I mean, he raved and raved about that golf course. It's been a bit since I've played it, admittedly. I've been to other courses around, but it's been a minute since I've been out to Elk City. It is up. It is. I mean, the rain helps. It was a little spongy in places, and that's understandable because it rained the night before. But grass was green, and everything. Greens were perfect, and he raved about it.
So do I. It's amazing how fast. Just looking around.
Just a little bit of rain.
How fast it's all turned around.
Oh, I'm hoping to mow tonight, but it might rain again. I haven't had a chance.
It was sprinkling when I came in.
My wife said they're going to kick us out of the neighborhood if you don't mow.
It was sprinkling when I came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had a good weekend. The old Crushers had a good weekend.
Yeah, I
they
saw
ended
that.
up winning
They get
the tournament.
they got the ship there. They got the awesome.
Yep. Ring. It was funny because we were sitting there, and the team we played, they called Oklahoma Baseball in the finals.
Uh-huh.
And they had a familiar color scheme to what we have seen here lately in big-time games for Elk City.
Pinstripes? Or
No, white and maroon.
White and maroon. Interesting.
They were from Tuttle.
Were they?
Yeah, and I guess the 14U played Tuttle in the finals too yesterday, the Outlaws.
I think I saw – did they have like an O hat?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I saw a couple of those boys on our side.
A bunch of Tuttle
Yeah.
guys. So anyway, that was pretty interesting that after, the last 2 years in the high school ranks – that 14 and us at 12 both playing teams from Tuttle.
So get ready.
Yeah, it might not. This thing might
This
just
Tuttle
be getting
versus Elk
started.
City thing might. Yeah, we're just getting started with it. Yeah, the rings. I like those tournaments that give the rings. Those girls love those rings, right?
Those guys. So the other team, when they sit down there, they're like, man, we're going to get a medal. That sucks. I wanted a ring. So they
gave the runner-up our girls rings.
Oh, really?
They gave they thought, and of course it could fit through their wrist.
Yeah.
But they were pretty. We didn't tell them. We kind of knew, and I knew. Like, I'm not telling them we're playing for no matter what. You're going to get a ring,
right?
I still want them to try to compete to win. But those frowns turned upside down when they saw the bling there.
That it was going to be a second place. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like it on our side then, because it gives you that extra motivation. If you don't want a medal, go win a ring.
Go win a ring. Yeah.
They won. Let's see. The 14U was second. They got beat by the Tuttle team. and then the Smash, the Coach Pitch guys.
Yeah.
They won. I don't know. I know I watched them play one inning of one game, and it was just a runaway. I think they ended up winning that game like 17-1.
Awesome. That's great.
So you've got a lot of fun times out at the fields over the weekend. The one negative is, if you're listening, you are a scummy person for breaking into a vehicle.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's scum. And also pretty brave.
Pretty bold to do it in broad daylight.
Broad daylight with a vehicle on the front row facing the field.
Is that the baseball side?
Yeah,
we were trying
but it was down the hump. You couldn't see. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're watching the games, you can't really see. Mm-hmm. But yeah, shame on you. I hope you get caught and put in jail.
Well, I mean, they allegedly went to Walmart and made some
Oh, I know they did that.
large purchases. Mm-hmm. You're going to get caught.
Yeah, that's
You're
what's going to catch you.
You're going to get caught.
Yep. They got these little deals called cameras, and when you're swiping somebody else's card, they can go back to the timestamp and look.
They can figure this out.
They will figure out who you are.
They can see what car you got in. You're going to get caught. They're on the case. Yeah, that is scummy. I saw that, and it kind of scared me because we were there leaving around that time, and guess where I went? Right to Walmart after.
Yeah.
I mean, funny, but yeah, it's scummy. It's ridiculous. I hope they get them.
Yeah, I do too.
Because, I mean, everything I hear when people come from out of town is how great the facilities are in Oak City and the restaurants and everything. You don't want that stain. So
no.
I hope they get them, and I hope we find out maybe they're not from Oak City. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a stain on it, and also a really awesome family that you did that to. So, shame on you. Hope you get caught.
Yep, me too. And I will report it.
Yeah. I might too. Just out of spite.
Yeah.
We got Jim Traber coming up here in about 15 minutes at 9:30. Get his thoughts on all the different topics across the sporting landscape, and there are a ton right now that we can get into. Man, PGA Championship, Jared. What an unbelievable event. I mean, it kind of had a little bit of everything. It had weather. You know, on Saturday, that just looked absolutely miserable for those guys throughout the start of it and most of the day. And then yesterday, it was like a completely different challenge. I thought Oak Hill stood up nicely to the players. I mean, especially considering after the rain, how soft it was and how gorgeous it was yesterday. There wasn't a ton of defense, and you know, some of those guys really took control. But at the end, when the smoke had cleared, a guy that, matter of fact, I picked as the winner was Brooks Koepka. And, man, it's amazing kind of when you look at what he's done. It's pretty amazing. It's all-time stuff, obviously, in the majors. And then, but also, it felt like that loss to Phil at Kiowa a couple years ago in the PGA. Mm-hmm. It almost felt like the Tiger Y.E. Yang moment, where Tiger had never been beaten when he led going into the last round, and then he gives that one up back in 2009. And then from there, he didn't win a major again until the Masters just a couple of years ago. You know, you saw what Koepka did at the Masters this year, taking that lead into the last round and then kind of, as he admitted, choking. Something that I don't think would have happened 5 years ago. I mean, you'd have already given him the trophy going into Sunday. But for him to turn it around in the very next chance he gets, the very next major, and do what he did on the weekend with 66, 67 on a golf course that was brutal on Saturday, shooting 66. I mean, it was he just plowed through the field to get up there at the top. And now you look at his career in majors. He's got a 14% win percentage, which is just ridiculous. He finishes in the top three 25% of the time, 39% in the top five, exactly half in the top 10. Just for comparison's sake, Tiger, 16% win percentage, so just barely better. 28% top three, so just barely better. 36% top five, so worse. And 45% top 10, worse. So Koepka and Tiger, if you look at what they've done in the majors, very, very, very similar. And then Koepka becomes the 20th guy with 5 major championship wins. He passes Rory McIlroy, which in 2014, if you'd have told anybody that Rory would be stuck at 4 in 2023, I don't think anybody would have agreed with you. But he is, and Koepka's he's just the man, dude. He's like the alpha dog out there.
I think right now, if you're a betting man, you bet on him at every major until, eventually you're going to get a return in investment. But he's been consistently good, and good for him. So, okay, moving on, Michael Block.
It's honestly though, that's the crazy thing is because when you look at what Koepka's done and what this means,
it's going to be overlooked. It's going to be overshadowed.
The 20th guy, only 20 have won 5 majors. He also is the first. You know what he's the first guy ever to do?
What's that?
He's the first guy ever to win a major championship, 3 major championships in the same state at different venues.
That's interesting.
He won the 2018 U.S. Open at Shinnecock. He won the 19 PGA at Bethpage, and then, of course, yesterday at Oak Hill. So 3 wins in New York, all at different venues. Nobody's ever done that. And you're right. Nobody cares. So Michael Block, everybody. It was a pretty cool story the first couple of days. There was one point there on Friday. So he teed off late early. There's one point on Friday he was 1 shot off of DeChambeau's lead. And then he hits the shank that would have been out of bounds, hits the tree, and he's like at the ladies' tee in the rough on number 5. So he finishes even par, and you think, oh, this is a cool story. I was talking about it on Friday. Like, what can you compare this to if he continues to play well? And in the back of my mind thinking, okay, yeah, whatever. We've seen this before with, like, pros, right, or really cool stories. But, man, he just, about the time it looked like he was going to let go of the rope, he did something to get right back in there. And then, of course, the hole-in-one on 15. Hollywood wouldn't even write that script, and his reaction, and it was one thing because of what he is as a club pro to do what he was doing is cool, no matter who it is. But I also think his personality really endeared himself to everybody that was watching that golf tournament, and really took a liking to him.
Yeah, that's immediately what I thought. And let me just, for preface here, to say, obviously being out on the softball field, I didn't watch a lot, but my phone was, I'm not on my phone out there all the time, but between games I'll check, see what message I missed or whatever. And my phone was blown up, not for Koepka, but all caps, Michael Block, and all these da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, who? Oh, that guy. What's he doing now? It was immediately after the ace. And so going back and watching that hole-in-one, just watching all the angles and the crowd reaction and his reaction, that was what was endearing to me. I was like, he didn't know it went in, I would have reacted the same way. I would have went, no way that went in, no way. Then the walk up to the hole and the crowd just showering him with praise, and it was all cool. It was a cool moment in golf, and probably the loudest roar you heard all weekend of all sports was right there on 15.
Yeah, and I think a big part of, just his reactions to things. His reaction to the shank was just kind of like, what was that?
Right,
that came out of nowhere. I'm three under with 4 or 5 holes to play here. And my second, I could be tied for the lead. Where did that shank come from? What just happened? And then, the questions he was asking, and for rightfully so, when he gets done on Friday and he ends up even par, kind of limped it in, but he was there. And those, the guys are asking him, like, what does it feel like? You're 6 shots ahead of John Rahm. And his reaction, like, what? Like, it's like like that part of it didn't really sink into him. When he found out after Saturday's round, when they tell him, well, tomorrow you're paired with Rory McIlroy, and he was just like, are you serious? Like, please, nobody wake me up from this dream that I'm having, because it is too good to be true, except for it was true, and it was just awesome.
Yes,
because what other sport What other sport could you even have this story written?
It has a feeling like the movie The Rookie, like an older guy.
Or like Scott said, tin cup.
Tin Cup, yeah.
Something,
yeah.
An old driving range pro.
This all feels like it's going to be a Disney sports movie, following his career and then his showing this past weekend, and the fans just loving it.
So tied 15th.
It's a great feel-good story.
And he had the up and down on the last hole to get into the PGA again next year, so he doesn't have to go through the Club Pro qualifying like he did this year. He's just automatically into the PGA next year. And it's just an absurd up and down on number 18 from short left there. It's not the best a Club Pro's ever done. The best a Club Pro has ever done is twice. Tied 11th. Lonnie Nelson, remember that name? Of course not. 1986. And I didn't write down Tommy Aycock in 74. Those guys both finished tied 11th. And then Block finishes tied 15th. I think this was his 5th or 6th PGA Championship that he qualified for. He never made the cut. And then here, of course, another thing that is cool about this to me, we've seen different amateurs. Heck, we saw Sam Bennett at the Masters, play really, really well. But at the end of it, you know what there's not? A check.
Yeah.
For those guys. But there is for him because he's a pro. Mm-hmm. Did you see what he made?
I had it up. Hold on. In this one?
Yes.
Like
288?
288?
Yeah, 288,000. And so somebody did the research and figured out what his rate is as far as his real job for lessons.
Yeah.
He'd have to give 2,300 of those puppies to make at his $125 an hour to get up to the $288K he just made.
So he's a pro at in Southern Cal?
Yeah, Mission Hills.
Mission Viejo.
I
know it very well. I know it very well.
He's a club pro there.
It's where my wife's family's at.
And I guess when you start looking into him a little bit, I mean, he just dominates out there on the club pro tournaments.
Yeah.
And in California, he's been multiple-time champion and all. Like I said, he's played in this. He's made it to the PGA itself a handful of times. But yeah, imagine when he goes back to the his real job. Imagine how much more attention those kids and whoever else is going to pay to him now than maybe they would have a week ago.
Oh yeah.
The cred, the street cred
I wonder,
is off the charts.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a ton of people that club now is probably, I'm sure there's already a waiting list for membership, but, I bet their phones are blowing up. Like, I want to be on that. I want to be over there.
I want to get a lesson from Michael Block.
Yes.
Very cool story. Very cool. The last thing before we get Jim on here. Does this vindicate Live Golf?
Yeah, I saw that pop up. What does that mean? Broaden that for me.
Well, I mean, the jokes wrote themselves out after the Masters, right? When Koepka just flamed out in the last round. Oh, yeah, can't play 72 anymore. And that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Those jokes just literally wrote themselves. And now...
I mean, those were pre-written, too. It was like they're just waiting for that to happen.
But when you look at what happened this weekend, I mean, obviously Bryson was there, too. At the top of the leaderboard all week long. Koepka. I don't know. I mean, I think it gives it more credibility.
A little bit.
It gives it more exposure to have a major champion on your tour. I mean, it's obviously better to have a major champion on your tour than not on your tour.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it means anything as far as different defections, more defections, if you want to use them. That's kind of the term that everybody's used from the PGA to the Live. I think the Ryder Cup conversation is going to be a massive one coming up and moving forward because Brooks Koepka is going to qualify for the Ryder Cup with the way he's played in just 2 tournaments. And he only plays in 2 that count for points.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll play in 4 of them that count. But, I mean, already just playing the way he did at the Masters and then yesterday, he's going to qualify for this team. And so that means Zach Johnson in the PGA of America is going to have to tell him he can't play and essentially break their qualifying rules, which would be absurd.
Absolutely would be.
Absolutely absurd for him to qualify for the Ryder Cup team and not being able to play. No matter what you think about Liv, that's absurd.
Yeah. Back to your original question, I think it does brings a little bit of respect to Liv Golf. I think it was happening even before this because of the uproar for me when I saw like the Tulsa event when it was on TV and the uproar that they cut it to go to Family Feud. People when that's
notice that's changing. They're not going to do that anymore.
Not going to do that anymore. People were really upset wanting to see. I think take away the name PGA or Liv, people enjoy quality golf, and Liv is getting quality golf, obviously.
Yeah, quality players.
Quality players, obviously with Koepka right there, just taking the PGA champs.
I mean, you look up, they've got 48 guys on their tour or that play each week. 3 of those are in the top 10, top 9, with Cam, with Bryson, and Brooks. And Liv Golf owns 2 of the last 3 major championships, with Cam back at the Open Championship at a year ago, and now Brooks Koepka here. And really, probably ought to have the last 3 if Koepka could have just finished. I think he's an interesting story, too, because watching the Full Swing, the Netflix, I don't think he makes that choice if he wasn't hurt. I think he made that choice as a insurance policy on his health without realizing he's going to be this healthy again. Pleased to be joined now by the voice you'll hear right here on these airwaves at 2 o'clock. It is the ultimate Jim Traber.
So you guys been getting some rain, huh?
We have, and that's probably what caused this.
Yeah, maybe we got
lightning
water or something, yeah.
Anyhow. Hey, I got some rain. We were just talking about that. The golf course out here is perfect right now, and it's amazing. Just 10 days ago, it looked like, golly, it's dry, and this isn't good. Now, all of a sudden, it's just gorgeous. Green. It's green everywhere. The trees are blooming. Sun is out, and people are happy.
That's good, man. I know the western part of our state needed some rain, so I'm glad you haven't seen it again. I guess there's more coming, too. So.
Yeah, chances all week for sure, and it's still at the point where no matter what anybody's plans are outside, they'll take the rain over. Yeah. They'll cancel something to get some more rain right now.
I saw this morning a long-term forecast. It's something to do. I'm not a climatologist or anything, but it's something to do with El Nino or whatever, and it's kind of centralized on the western half of the state, where it's going to give us a lot of rain, but possible severe weather too between now and about mid-June. So I'll take the rain, though. Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
All right, Jim. 15 years from now, when we think back about what happened at Oak Hill this weekend, will we remember, hey, Brooks Koepka won his 5th major, or will we remember some guy named Michael Block made an ace and finished tied 15th?
No, I mean, that was, in sports, you have things that happen all the time that are really cool, and, sometimes they're historical, but this was absolutely amazing. When you consider, just him making the cut and then continuing on and then playing with McIlroy and then the hole-in-one to get him back to even. Of course, they didn't show his bogey. And then the up and down on 18 is just amazing so that he can get into next year. And then I thought it was really, really cool that he got the phone call from the Colonial that said, hey, we got one spot open, we want you to come play. I mean, this dude, I haven't seen yet. How much money did he make?
$288,000.
Oh, my gosh, man. You talk about life-changing, huh?
Yeah.
For a PGA professional? Oh, my gosh, that is just awesome. And you listen, it wasn't a fluke, man. He played really well. I mean, he really did. And he's been, 7-time PGA Player of the Year in California. I mean, so the dude can play. I was telling Julie, there are dudes all over the place that can really play, but they had to give it up because they had a baby or they had, they had to do their life. I don't know if you guys know a guy named Tim Fleming. He's a head pro at Oklahoma City Golf and Country. And I know you do, Skinny, because you know it so closely. We played at OSU. He was a great golfer. I mean, but you know what? He got married, and you had to live a real life because how tough is it to spend money every weekend but not make any money?
Right.
And that's kind of what those guys do. So anyway, yeah, that was an unbelievable story, man. It really was. It was really cool. I thought he handled it really cool, and I thought that was one of the greatest things in golf that you'll see. And of course, I was very happy because all three of the dudes that had a chance to win, I really liked. I was so happy when both, Rory makes a move, then he goes back, and then what's his name? I can't stand DeChambeau. So happy that he didn't make any kind of move, but it was a fun tournament. It was a lot of fun watching that golf. It really was. Hovland gets a really bad break, fellas. Really bad break. That's all that was. Seriously. All of them were hitting it right and left. I mean, because the fairways were small and it was just a tough course. But you get where that ball gets caught. I mean, what are the chances that it gets caught there? And it just does, and that makes him. He could have. I'm sure someone would say, well, he could have bogeyed. Well, yeah, he could have, but I think that he's on a nice little roll right there and gets unlucky. That's a hard deal. So I thought that Hovland represented himself well, and then of course Koepka is just a majors machine. That's what he is. He's unbelievable. And again, for a guy like me that can't stand all the curmudgeony old PGA people ripping on the LIV Tour, I think it's really cool that the LIV Tour is doing so well. Maybe those people will shut up when they say, "Oh, it doesn't prepare you," and blah blah blah. Yeah, I guess it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was wanting to go with the Koepka story. Real quick, I saw a guy figured out what you would have to spend to get a lesson from Michael Block, and with the 288 he made, he'd have to give 2,300 lessons at 125 an hour to be able to get to what he did over the weekend. That's just incredible. That was a question I have. Does this kind of vindicate LIV Golf? When you look at the leaderboard, 3 of the top 9 are there with Cam, obviously DeChambeau, and then Koepka, the winner. How much extra oomph does this give that tour?
Well, I think that it happened at the Masters too, Skinny. Right? There were 3. Was it 3 of the top 6 at the Masters?
Right.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it does. It obviously does. Am I saying that it's going to take over the PGA Tour? No, but I do think that it shows everybody that the LIV Tour is for real, and these guys can play. And even though they're only playing 54 holes and they're wearing shorts and they're not doing what some of these uppity people want them to do, they're still doing fine. They're playing enough golf. I got to tell you, I mean, if I'm somebody on the PGA Tour, I see what's happened over the year that it's been going. I seriously consider going over there. I mean, especially if I have kids. If I have children and I want to spend time with my family, there's nothing better. Charles Howell III was on my show a week before last, and he basically said the same thing about how he gets to spend a bunch of time. Took his kids to Singapore and Australia, and he gets a lot of time off. So it's really interesting to show that there's another way. And then the people that have the quote the way don't like to listen to other people saying there might be another way. And now the tours had to change some things up, and I think it's all good for golf. Now, there's a lot of people that don't think it's good for golf. Don't say it to Dean Blevins.
Mm-hmm.
But
or Brandel Chambly.
Yeah, Brandel Chambly. My gosh. That dude. And I got to tell you, fellas, it's hard for me to watch the Golf Channel. It really is, because they are so homerized towards the players. And I was going to bring up, too, the announcers. Oh, how many times are you going to see a ball, a punt that is like 3 inches right of the hole, which, Skinny, you and I and all of us would think that that's a bad putt, okay? And they go, boy, well, that's a great putt. No, it isn't. It's a bad putt. No, it isn't.
I had a lot of great putts on Friday then.
Yeah. If he puts it inside of 10 feet, this will be a great shot. What are you talking about? I mean, these are the best players in the world. I get so tired of the announcers. But again, they know where their bread is buttered, right? That's the whole deal. Just like the stupid Golf Channel.
Yeah.
The PGA Tour pays for them to be making the money that they are. So but I get tired of listening to them. I really do.
We're hanging out with the ultimate Jim Traber. Hey, have you seen any of the Full Swing on Netflix with the golfers?
I haven't seen it. No, people have told me to watch it. I have not watched it.
I watched a little bit of a couple of them. One of them was with Koepka, I truly believe that the reason he went to live is because I don't think he thought he was going to be healthy ever again. With the wrist, with the knee, I feel like he used it as an insurance policy to kind of, as a retirement plan almost. And now all of a sudden he's back to what he was. It's funny because I don't believe, after watching that, I don't believe that he would have went to live golf if not for the injuries that he was sustaining at that time. It's just like the perfect storm, perfect place, and perfect time for him to go.
Well, it's a smart move for him, huh?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to play as much, can get more rehab in, and gets that big sum. What do we know how much he got? How much did he get?
$3.15 million.
No, that's how much he got to go.
Yeah. No. I think it was reported back then like 100.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're going to blame somebody, you're going to rip somebody for taking $100 million, playing less, and trying to rehab their body. I mean, no, it was a brilliant deal for him, and it worked out perfectly. And now he's won another major, 5 majors, 3 PGAs. I mean, that's in a category that's tough, fellas. That's a big league. Rory McIlroy's not in that daggone category. This guy's amazing.
Are we on our way? I'm finding myself now, and I think the rest of the casual golf fan will go this route too, where if it's not a major, I'm watching live golf. If it's a major, I'm watching the major. Are we on our way to that?
Probably not. I mean, I think there'll be people that watch. I mean, first of all, they got to get off the CW. I mean, they're going to have to get something that's a little bit better than that. I mean, on my streaming service, I don't even get CW. Luckily, I have also an antenna, that I can get the CW. So that's not good. I mean, and I'm on Hulu, and Hulu's a big old place. So, they're going to have to get a little better there. But I don't think the PGA Tour is ever going to be second place. But it's always good. Competition is a great thing, fellas. I remember when I got fired and we started 1340 and we were going against, the big boy, the 640 here in Oklahoma City. Us coming around was good for them. They didn't treat it that way because they were idiots. And I'm not talking about Al. I'm talking about the people that ran the station. They thought, they'll go away. Well, no, you know what? You don't. When you get competition, you know what you need to do? You need to make sure that they go away. That's what you need to do. You need to make sure they go away. Or you need to make sure that you do things that are going to continue to make you better. And it took the PGA Tour a little bit to do that. And now they've done a couple things, with smaller fields and all that other stuff. But, no, I think Live's here to stay, but it's not going to take over. And there's room for 2, I'd be interested after all these dudes winning majors and doing well in majors. I wonder if they will get a better TV contract. Maybe someone will say yes. Maybe ABC will want to do some golf. Maybe Fox. I don't know. But I think that so far I think it's gone pretty good,
Yeah, $100 million for Koepka, and he's won $17 million out there already on the Live Tour, $43 million PGA Tour winning. So it's working out pretty good for Brooks Koepka. No doubt about it. All right, let's switch gears over to the NBA playoffs. How surprised or even shocked are you at what happened last night and what has happened in this Eastern Conference Finals to look up in Miami leads Boston 3-0?
I would fire Missoula the minute the season's over. Fellas, I don't know about you guys, but I think he's horrible. I do. I mean, look, it's the players' fault too. I understand that, but you can't fire the players. I just think that this is one of the biggest mismatches on the sidelines I've ever seen. And when you look at Missoula on the sideline, and then you look at Spoelstra has a look of, we're gonna find something. They're gonna do something that we know. And he's got this look like he knows that something's getting ready to happen. And Missoula has the same look, only he knows it's going to happen to himself, to his team. And listen, that press conference that he had after the game yesterday was ridiculous. It's up to me. It's my job. Blah blah blah. I like when people take blame, but I think that he was doing that just to I don't know. Maybe the players don't like him. I don't know what's going on. He's terrible. But this is the situation when you get a great coach and one gamer of a guy, and other people follow. This is what this is, guys. It really is. Boston should be embarrassed. I mean, they should be flat out embarrassed. They are definitely the most talented team, and they're going to go home again. So I don't know, man.
I think that Missoula, if it's me, I'm getting rid of him. I know it's only 1 year, blah, 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 whatever. He's not a very good coach. And I think that one of us could have coached him through the regular season. They got everything they need.
Mm-hmm.
Every part of the game they have. And they're down 3-0, and they've got 2 losses at home. So that's just a thorough embarrassment.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing – we've seen this throughout NBA playoffs, and you even mentioned Buck Showalter the other day in this vein with talking about Mark Daignault. I think that's why you see there's certain coaches that are great at building things, and there's others you need a Hall of Famer almost on the sidelines when it really gets down to it in the playoffs. And Missoula's really neither one of those. Oh, he was an assistant, and I think with what happened to Udoka, they kind of panicked and just picked out a guy that they kind of liked on the sideline.
No, I agree 100%. You're right. He, I'm sure he knows X's and O's and all that other stuff, but it just doesn't look good, fellas. I mean, it just does not look good at all. And they're going to go home. I don't know if it's in Game 4. If it's in Game 4, it'd be really embarrassing. But they're getting ready to go home, and I don't know. It looked to me like after they got down yesterday, fellas, it looked like they kind of quit, didn't they?
Oh yeah, you just hear Shaq when they first started that show Inside the NBA. He asked Ernie, "Well, Boston quit. Can we?" Right as the show started. So they kind of had that same opinion.
Beautiful.
Is not only on the sideline coaching wise, but is this the end of this team as far as the way that they have built this version of the Boston Celtics with the Tatum and Brown combination? Is this the end of that? And if so, we've talked about it on this show. Man, wouldn't Jaylen Brown look really, really nice alongside Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the rest of the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Well, first of all, Jaylen Brown would look good next to anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. I just don't think that the Thunder are going to make a big move like that. But I don't. This is one of those deals where I don't think it should be the end of it. I mean, I think they've done a pretty good job of playing together. They're not losing because they're not playing together. They're losing because their superstars not doing a daggone thing for a lot of the time. And I don't think the coach. I don't think he has any idea how to adjust. I don't think he has any idea how to put in a lineup and change things up. That's one of the big things for a coach. It doesn't matter how good the players are that are on the floor. If the lineup's not working, tweak it. And I just don't think he does that. I don't like the way he coaches. I don't. I've seen some of these other guys in the playoffs, like Darvin Ham. I don't think it's coaching with him. I think he's made a couple moves. I think he knows what he's doing. I think Missoula. Of course, I'm gonna blame the players too, obviously. But I don't think he's any good, fellas. I really don't.
Who's freaking out more, the Lakers, the Celtics, or the NBA execs who thought they were going to get a Lakers-Celtics finals?
Yeah, I think the networks, probably.
Yeah.
The networks are the ones that are probably not real happy. But I think the Celtics they've got to be disgusted, Well, they 4-5 at home? Is that what they are? I think they're 4-5 in the playoffs at home. How do you do that? They're just, and then with Milwaukee getting beat, it opened up for them, and now they're going to go home. So I give credit to Miami. I did pick Miami at the beginning of the season to go to the final. Of course, I changed the pick, so I'm not going to take credit for it. But I'm telling you, dude, fellas, when you got a coach like Spoelstra, who I think right now is the best coach in the league, I really do. And you throw in a gamer like Jimmy Butler. I mean, nobody ever talks about him. Somehow he made second team All NBA, and then you got other dudes that are just stepping up. They're playing, they're doing their jobs, and then they play defense and they let the other team make mistakes. I mean, this is just a clinic. After it's over with, Missoula should walk up to Spoelstra and say, "Hey, you got some time for me in the off season? Maybe you should teach me what the heck I'm doing." Because that's what this is. This is like teacher versus student. That's what this is.
Yeah, when you look up and Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, and Martin are 15 of 23 from three. Those, even Jimmy Butler finally had kind of an off game for him in these playoffs, and it didn't matter. They just still whipped them. I think it was the biggest defeat that an 8 seed had ever put on anybody in the playoffs last night at 128-102. The other series.
And you know what?
Good.
And I was just going to say, real quick, you know what?
I forget what I was going to say. Go ahead. It was good, though, so sorry about that. It was really, really good.
In the other series, I think it's not as surprising, obviously, that Denver's got a commanding lead. I love that they got another chance because you think about the bubble and, who was watching, who wasn't, but now that it's kind of back to normal and just get to see how much Jokic has gotten better since the bubble conference finals against the Lakers. Jamal Murray's back healthy. I'm just glad that whoever is watching is getting to see what this Denver Nuggets team should have been without some injuries to Jamal Murray over the last couple of years.
I don't know. I mean, fellas, I don't know about you guys, but I think the Lakers are in pretty good shape. I mean, I do. I think, I'm sorry. That's all I heard after game one. Remember, they're in great shape. Really? Why? I mean, I love it when I'm right, I really do. And I said right after the game, everybody's talking about the Lakers, and that stretch that they have. What about the stretch that Denver had? I mean, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Look, Denver, Al Eshbeck's been saying this now, they're the best team in the league. That's what they are. And they're unbeatable at home. And this altitude thing is for real. So the Lakers look worn out, fellas. Do they not?
Yeah.
I mean, they look worn out. LeBron, his age is finally messing with them. And I'll tell you this, LeBron is one of the top, I think he's number 2, but he's one of the top 5 players of all time. No one can argue that. But there's no one who can say to him, LeBron, stop shooting the 3. Does he not remind you so much of Dort? Think about it. When Dort hits his first or second 3, as a Thunder fan, don't you go, oh, no. Here we go. He's going to shoot 8 or 9 today. Same thing with LeBron. LeBron made a couple early, and it was like, okay. I've been rooting for Denver. I want Denver. When he hit a couple threes, I thought to myself, that's good. I'm glad he hit a couple threes. Because you know what? He's not going to go 7 for 11. He's not that guy. Great shooters go 7 for 11. After you make a couple, bad shooters go 3 for 10. That's what happens. And that's what he is. He's a terrible three-point shooter. And he took 2 threes in this series, one in Denver and one in Los Angeles, fellas, that were so ill-advised that if he'd have been a second-year player, the coach would have taken him out of the game. If you remember, they're coming down the floor in Denver. I think it's a 1-point game, and he just pulls up, boom, misses it. Denver goes down, scores, and then he did the same exact thing in Los Angeles. He's not Steph Curry, okay? He's not even Isaiah Joe. It's just bad. And again, I'm not going to only blame him, but I give so much credit to Denver. I said before the series that it wasn't going to be the 2 big boys for both teams. It was going to be 3 through 8. And although it's not totally true, I do think 3 through 8 for Denver has played. I mean, what about Bruce Brown? Huh? What about that guy? And then Porter at times. Aaron Gordon looks lost at times, but he's done some things here and there. So I just think that, their players, that aren't the superstars have played better than the non-superstars for the Lakers. And then, of course, Murray is just amazing. That first quarter he had that was Michael Jordan-esque is what it was. Those are games like Jordan and Kobe scored 70. And Jokic didn't play that great of a game, but when it was all said and done, he did some things at the end, So it's just, they're good, man. They're really, really good. And Miami, I can't wait. I actually would much rather watch a team that run with them. But I want to see the difference in styles, right? Miami's going to want to slow it down and play defense, and Denver's going to want to run. I think Denver will beat them, but Miami's amazing. They really are. So, and I just love it for Jokic. I do, because so many people, including, Perk and others, just continue to take shots at the guy. And all he does is just run up down the floor and play basketball, doesn't he? I mean, how about the faces he makes? Like, you would think that he's like walking in the park, I just love the guy, and I think Malone is a great coach. See, Spoelstra will be the better coach against them, but he's not going to out-coach him like 10-1 like he's doing now, because Malone can coach. So I don't know how long it's going to take. It could be over in the next couple days, but I think Boston is a total embarrassment, and I think the Lakers are what they are, fellas.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, they're not. I mean, it's a nice story with Austin Reeves and some of these other guys, but they were the 7th seed, and they probably should have been about a 4 seed, And Denver's the best team in the league.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting because I'm looking. The Heat would be only the third team in NBA history as the lowest points per game throughout the regular season and make it to the finals. It hasn't happened since 1964, and the Warriors and the Pistons did it in '56. And so, and Denver was the best offense in the league. So I wonder if we've ever seen that matchup with the best offense against the worst offense in the NBA Finals, at least points per game.
Here's the problem for Miami. How are they going to cover Jokic? What, Adebayo, what do you think he is, 6'8"?
Yeah, and not near strong enough looking.
No, who's going to cover Jokic?
Yeah.
They got no chance against Jokic. Now, I will tell you this, Spoelstra will come up with something fun. There's no doubt. Spoelstra will mess with them. You know what Spoelstra will do? He'll do what Ham did, only he will wait until the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? That's what Spoelstra is. You know, when Ham put Hachimura on and messed with Jokic, and they ended up at least coming back. Spoelstra will have something for him right away. They'll switch dudes back and forth and double him, and they'll do all that stuff. The problem is that I didn't even mention Caldwell Pope. How valuable is he, fellas?
Mm-hmm.
Would you take him on your team? Wow. I mean, he is so good on both sides of the ball. He's covering LeBron, guys. He was covering LeBron and knocking down threes. He might be the most valuable, unknown player in the league. It was a great pickup for them. Great pickup.
Real quick for me, have you been watching? Did you watch any of the softball over the weekend? I think the shocker was UCLA getting eliminated, right?
Yeah, I didn't know that, and I heard you say that this morning. I didn't know that they got eliminated because I'm not watching all of it. But I watched OU and OSU. All you got to do is watch OU for like 2 innings and then turn the channel.
That's it. So, yeah, if you tune in after that, you missed it.
Yeah. They actually gave up some runs. What's wrong with them?
Yeah.
I was really happy for Kenny Gajewski. Matter of fact, I'm going to get him on the air this week. He's had a tough stretch. But, he just kept saying, boy, we're, I like where we are, and we're learning from this. And then you think to yourself, get out of here, dude. Come on, man. You're just being Mr. Positive, right? But, there it is. You know how many people, I can't believe I'm telling you this. It's unbelievable that I'm admitting this. But I went online and I looked at, the predictions for people that follow softball. I think I saw 5 people predict on softball. You know that 3 of them predicted Wichita State to win the region?
Yep.
3 of them. And I guarantee you, when I talk to Kenny Gajewski, I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to say, did that give you any motivation? And he'll say no, and I'll go, stop it. Because it did. It did. So, yeah, and then they make a little comeback very nicely against Nebraska. Was it Nebraska?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Nebraska. And get in. And who they play now? Oregon? Is that who they play?
Yes.
Okay. Well, look, they're going to be coming to Stillwater, so let's see what they can do. We already know OU. I don't even know who OU play.
They get Clemson. Sorry about your luck, Clemson. Their fans were very vocal about midway through the season, claiming that they were better than OU.
They get a chance to prove it.
Now they got a chance here.
Yeah, good. Just, you know what? If I'm a Clemson fan, I'd just like to see him not get run ruled. That would be my deal. Just try to play them close. So, but that's it's amazing, huh? I told Patty Gasso when we had her on at 4:00 last week. I said, is it not unbelievable that we're talking softball at 4:00 and the #1 show in the entire state? I mean, is that crazy or what?
Yeah. Last thing, with the NBA playoffs, especially this round being such a dud, what a perfect time for people, and we've implored people to watch the NHL playoffs. And what a perfect time for all 4 games so far to go into at least one overtime.
Dude, listen to me. There's nothing better. The only thing's better is when it's Game 7. Mm-hmm. How about the 4 overtime game? I remember when I was in Rochester, New York. Believe it or not, isn't that crazy? And I was playing baseball up there, and I was kind of I was a Penguins fan, but I kind of liked the Capitals a little bit, and because I was from down there, and there was this bar up in Rochester that was known as, quote, the hockey bar. Mm-hmm. And I think, this so long ago, this had to be in 1980, maybe 87. And me and some of my boys on the team went, that were hockey fans, we went to watch, I think it was the Capitals and the Rangers, I think. And the bar closed down. They let us stay because it was like 5 over. It was like, at the time, the longest game in history. And I'm telling you, man, there's nothing better. So you're right. I love that you bring it up. And by the way, the Panthers are an 8 seed, right?
Yeah.
And Miami's an 8 seed. How about that? Both of them got a chance to go to the finals. That's just crazy. Good stuff. And by the way, before we go, I know we got to go, but
yeah.
I didn't want to let you OU fans. I didn't want you guys without going with that big league spanking that the OSU boys put on y'all. I just thought I'd let you know in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
I had to throw that out there.
Oh, that happened. Oh, yeah.
OSU would end up splitting the regular season Big 12 title. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, 3-way. Although I'm watching on Instagram and they're showing the trophy. I wouldn't have taken it. I don't believe in that. West Virginia beat us, so we're not ahead of them. I know it's 3-way, but that's just junk.
The Big 12 tournament this week, is that right?
Yeah, this week.
And it's OU OSU again for opening round.
That's right, off the bat, OU and OSU. So, Skip Johnson's team's just a little bit young, but they got a couple kids that can play. But OSU, I'm telling you, if they get pitching, fellas, they'll play with people. If they get pitching, because they can hit. You see that Schubert? Any of y'all watch that Schubert kid?
Oh my gosh, that dude is unbelievable.
Yeah, he is one of those dudes that used to play at OSU. That's what I'll tell you. He is up there with I'm not saying he's going to be as good as these guys, but he's up there with the Inkies and the Venturas and the Burnitzes. I mean, he is that type of guy. I mean, he's a true freshman. He's lighting it up now. Inkie's the best college player of all time, and Ventura, I think, is second. And no, I'm not even being biased on that, okay? But, that was fun, and we'll see where they go. I think they're peaking at the right time and getting Nolan McLean back, so we'll see what happens.
Honestly, they kind of remind you a little bit of what we saw from OU last year.
Except their pitching's not as good.
That's right, except for the pitching.
But I'll tell you what, the Watts Brown kid, if he gets his arm back, he's really good. And Nolan McLean looks really good back. And then the kid they stole from OU in the portal, he's been pitching well. So, and then they got a decent bullpen. They just got to stop those games where they give up like 9 runs. You know what I'm saying? Because this offense will score on anybody. Just if OSU, this will blow your mind, because they got shut out in game 2. But if OSU, if their pitching gives up 5 runs a game, they'll have a chance to go to Omaha.
Yeah,
that's the truth. That's how good this offense is. It's mind-boggling. It's almost like they got too cocky for game 2. But I can't wait, man. I think people ask me, should they fire Rob Walton and Josh Howell? I'm like, you people are crazy, man. And by the way, I'll come on the air today and say that Joe Mazzulla will be fired, but I'm letting y'all know ahead of time. And I said this on the air, and people can get upset if they want. I will never, ever, ever go on the air and say that Josh Holiday should be fired, unless he does something, salacious or so. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I rocked his little brother to sleep when he was a baby. I can promise you this: I am not going to ever say that. And people that are saying it now are idiots. This program's in good shape. It's hard to get to the big level. So let's see. Let's see what they do in the next few years.
Last thing, real quick. This morning, Carmelo Anthony announces his retirement. Just give us your thoughts on his career and what he was.
Just one of the best scorers of all time. And I really have started to like him a lot more, especially after I read that whole stuff about when John Morant, when John Morant had those problems, and he said what he said about his friend who was in prison or was in jail, and David Stern talked to him and said, dude, if you want to be with us, you need to be with us. And he went down and he bailed the guy out of jail, and I think he was it $50,000?
I think that's right. Yeah, I think
gave
it was
him $50,000 and said, listen, pal, we're not going to be friends anymore, but do something good with this. And I really respect that. And John Morant needs to do the same. Don't think he will, but I've gained a lot of respect for Carmelo. Great basketball player. His time with the Thunder wasn't the best, but hey, he was old, right? Mm-hmm. And then he came back and played a couple more years and was good. So he had a great career. He's a guaranteed Hall of Famer.
Never forget him dominating the Big 12 in the NCAAs.
That's right.
Yeah, he beat every school, right? OSU, OU, Kansas, he beat everybody.
Yeah, on the run to the national title. Jim,
is he
by
a
the way,
first?
was it the Big 8 or was it the Big 12?
It was
It was a 12. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. You're right.
Final question: is he a first ballot Hall of Famer in your eyes?
Should be, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, when what's the number one thing to do in basketball? Put the ball in the basket, and he did it up there in the top. What is he? I don't know what he's in scoring. Do you know what he's in scoring?
I was just top
6 or 7. Is that what he is?
He's
somewhere
way
there?
up there.
Yeah, I think I'm almost positive he's top 10. So yes, if you're a top 10 scorer in a league that's about scoring, yes,
Yeah,
you
ninth.
should be. No, what number is he?
9th.
Okay, so number 9, yeah, he should be. Now there'll be people that vote against him. I mean, we all know that they didn't like him or whatever, but yeah, he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
All right, Jim, what's coming up on the podcast today? By the way, I finally got around to listening to Al and that
You liked
two part.
it?
Oh my gosh, it was awesome. And some of the stories we'd heard, some of them we hadn't, but just the rapport that you guys have for all those years of working, and then to put Julie in the mix, it was phenomenal. It was probably an hour and a half worth on the two, and it felt like it took 10 minutes to listen to it. It was so much fun.
I appreciate that. I thought it was great, and we really do. We're kind of amazing, man, being around each other as long as we have, and we really don't ever fight, man. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Julie and I fight more than me and Al do, and so he was great. This one we did today was. Gosh, we just did it too. We've been so messed up. We talk a little bit about the accident a little bit more, kind of on that, and we talk about we did our mothers last week, and this week what do we? I'm so bad, fellas. It's really good though. I remember it was really really good. You'll like it, I promise. Listen, everybody, listen. Julie and Jim Traver podcast. My mind is just totally gone. I don't know what to tell you. We do tell some nice stories about some things that have happened to us here lately, including one about hand sanitizer. That's really funny. You'll need to go listen to it. So.
All right, man. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope Julie gets feeling better, and glad that you guys are okay, and all the rest of that stuff will just take care of itself.
Have either one of y'all ever been in a car accident?
I actually,
I have.
I actually, when I was in high school or college, maybe I was going to work, and I actually hit a pedestrian. That's the only thing I've ever done. Just barely. I mean, it wasn't bad, but I know.
This thing is amazing. I've never seen like it. We're coming up on 2 weeks away, 2 weeks out, and I mean, I'm still waking up in pain. Julie's still in pain. I mean, I've never seen like it. It's terrible. So I can't imagine these people that get in accidents that are going 70 miles an hour and 80 miles an hour. And wow, it's really bad. So I mean, God was good to us as far as nothing major, but it is a tough situation. So please pray for Julie especially.
Yeah, there's no more sickening feeling. I got a text from our mutual friend Jeremy saying, "Hey man, Traver is in a car wreck. Put him in your prayers." I'm like, "Is he okay? Is he okay?" And yeah, so we've been praying for you. And
thank you. And Jeremy had a horrible car accident.
Yeah.
Just a little while ago.
Right. Yep.
So, all right, fellas, we're really, 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 really late.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries, man. Hey, thanks for joining us. We'll be listening to it too.
Okay, see you, fellas.
All right,
Bye.
see you later. The ultimate Jim Traver joining us here on a Monday. I don't think it can be overlooked, the wizardry that I performed there to get him on the air.
I don't know what you did, but you did it. Good job.
The only thing I know
Write
how
it down so you know next
Hey,
time.
listen, it's the only thing I know how to do with any of this stuff. Unplug it and plug it back in.
That's right.
That's all I did.
You didn't have to call the support line to get that advice.
Nope. Hit the buttons a couple times. Oh, that's not it. Unplug it and plug it back
There
in.
you
Bammo. Right on the air.
Well, that's when you know we had a very busy sports weekend when we have to go overtime like that.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we didn't even get to everything.
No, we
All
didn't.
right, everybody have a great Monday. We'll be back. Rehash everything tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.